Da 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 da. Hello everyone and welcome back. I'm Chris and this is Star Wars Battlefront 2.
You might have heard of me. Name's Finn.
So today we are going to use some sequel trilogy heroes and talk a little bit about that trilogy as we play through here. So the first thing I really wanted to talk about was Finn. I do think that Finn was a little bit underutilized in the last couple movies, although I did really like his Canto Bight sequence. That is one thing that I really like about the sequel trilogy, is that the more I dig into it, the more I find. Particularly The Last Jedi. And I know it's a point of high contention. Some people love it, some people hate it. Everyone's sick of talking about it. But one thing I did want to talk about was the Canto Bight sequence. I know there's a lot of valid complaints about it. It drags a little bit. It's very CGI heavy. Its message isn't really clear. But one of the things that I've found digging into it, this is, to be fair, credited to Brian Young on Twitter. He loves to analyze Star Wars in particular. But essentially he pointed out that Finn's dilemma on Canto Bight is very interesting because he doesn't get a Force cave moment like Luke does in Empire Strikes Back. He doesn't get that moment like Rey does in the same movie. But Canto Bight is essentially his test, his peek into his own future. On one shoulder he has Rose Tico, who represents that kind of optimism inside of him, and it also represents what he would be like if he bought into the Resistance, if he found a cause and decided, yes, this is who I want to be. On the other shoulder, you have DJ, who represents everything that Finn will be if he decides to keep up his neutrality, his I don't want to get involved kind of mentality. And that is the two representing forces that are kind of tugging at him. You have Rose saying, no, we have to protect the Resistance, we have to stand up for something, we have to make a stand and believe. And then you have DJ saying, doesn't really matter, the world sucks, everyone's the same, and he's just kind of numb to it. So that is definitely Finn's dilemma. Oh boy, I'm getting kind of cornered here. This is not looking good. That is Finn's dilemma, and that's kind of why the Canto Bight sequence is very important, because that's what Finn needs to decide. He needs to make that choice and go from, well, I'm just trying to survive, to, no, I need to make a stand and stand for something. Like I said before, I probably like the sequel trilogy more than most. I think there's a lot of cool stuff there. I was initially very apprehensive about the sequel trilogy, just because that is one of my favorite eras in the old expanded universe. Anyone who knows me has probably heard me talk about my favorite book of all time, which is Traitor, which features Jacen Solo, which is Han and Leia's son. Alright. Whew. That got a little bit hairy, but, you know, we got out of there. Thanks, Finn. That was Finn on Jakku. Coming up next, we will find another sequel trilogy hero to get behind. Alright, so this is BB-8. That is right, we are using BB-8, and this is Takodana, Maz's castle. Like I was saying before, this is an era that I was very apprehensive about just because I absolutely love Jason Solo, who was Han and Leia's son in the expanded universe. He had a twin sister named Jaina, and they were a really cool pair. They kind of inverted the Luke and Leia archetypes. Jason was kind of this calm, serene, bleeding heart who's always, you know, waxing poetic, and Jaina was this kind of jock character who, if she wasn't jumping into a starfighter and taking her problems head on, she was grabbing her lightsaber and just kind of attacking things that way. Which I thought was a great kind of inversion of the normal twin stereotypes, where the guy is, you know, the aggressive one, and the girl is just this kind of very charming individual who everyone enjoys. So I was very apprehensive going in. I ended up liking it a lot more than I thought I would, to be honest. There's a lot of cool visuals, a lot of cool concepts in the sequel trilogy. I think BB-8 was a really cool design, to be honest. He was something that I didn't think was real. I saw the first trailer for The Force Awakens, and I was like, oh, cool, they made a CGI droid. That's neat. It's a very Star Wars-y design. And then I think it was at Celebration, they just, like, they wheeled him right out on stage, and it was like, oh yeah, by the way, this is a thing that exists. We built it. It's real. Like, it is a practical effect, which I thought was amazing. The practical effects in the sequel trilogy, I think, were a great return to form for Star Wars. Star Wars shines when it has practical effects. That guy is in the middle of the ground. Get out of the ground, man! Okay, well, I got him out of there eventually. I think overall the sequel trilogy, the common thing that I say about it is that it is fun but flawed. Like I said, it has a lot of great concepts. I think it has a lot of great, like, the saber duels are really cool. Whereas, like, in the prequel trilogy, everything is very light and airy. Everyone is, like, trained swordsmen. It's like watching fencers perform, you know, compete. Whereas in the sequel trilogy, it definitely feels like everyone is... That's another guy in the ground. Get out of there. Okay, well, he's gone. Anyway, in the sequel trilogy, it definitely feels like every swing is, like, they're going for a kill stroke. Like, especially Kylo Ren definitely feels like he is just wailing on people. And the unstable crystal that kind of makes his blade kind of, like, warble and vibrate. Such a cool effect. Woo! Good job, BB-8. Oh no, grenade! Okay, we're okay. Alright. We'll do one more here, and we will wrap this up talking about the sequel trilogy. Alright, here we are. We are using Rey in her final outfit from the end of Rise of Skywalker. And we are on Crait.
Are you offering me a job?
I am. We're gonna have to kill a lot of stormtroopers, Rey. So let's get going here. Rey was a really cool hero. I think something I really liked about The Force Awakens in particular was that all of the advertising really broadcasted the fact that Finn was going to be the next Jedi. He was holding a lightsaber. The trailer really focused on him being narratively the main character. And you don't really understand that he's not the main character until the very end of The Force Awakens, when that lightsaber, you know, flies over to Rey, which I thought was really cool. You get hints of it throughout, like her using the mind trick and her kind of reversing the mind probe on Kylo, but I thought that was a really cool thing of... Essentially, the trailer tricked us into thinking that Finn was going to be the Jedi when it was actually Rey. I do think that Finn kind of got the short end of the stick. Like I said earlier, I love his Canto Bite sequence. I do think he got sidelined a bit both story-wise and marketing down the road, which is super unfortunate because I thought that John Boyega did a fantastic job. So did Daisy Ridley. I love the cast of the sequels. I think they were great. I absolutely love their dynamics, and a lot of their dialogue is just fantastic. Oh, obviously I love Oscar Isaac. Who doesn't love Oscar Isaac? And his banter was absolutely phenomenal. I would have liked the trilogy to be a little bit more organized so that we got more interactions that were more meaningful. Rewatching the original trilogy, it's very clear that, like, every conversation between Hanley and Luke definitely advanced their dynamic and their journey together. Whereas there's a lot of things in the sequel trilogy that is like, oh, that's just kind of a fun, quirky line, that's a great one-liner, but it doesn't really do anything to advance the plot. Overall, I think the sequel trilogy is fun, but really suffered from not having an overarching plan, which all parties involved have kind of admitted to, which is just kind of bizarre in my opinion. It seemed like Disney was in a little bit of a rush to get this out, which I wish they would have taken a little bit more time, but that's okay. I think, like I said, fun but flawed is my final thoughts on it. So, alright, well that is Ray on Crait, and that is just some brief thoughts on the sequel trilogy. So we've got a couple more of these Battlefront videos coming up this month, so stay tuned. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye!